Hi,
I hope I did something right.
there we go. Sorted.
It's right. Oh, cool.
How are
Hello, my
you?
love. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm so sorry. I'm boiling hot. I went to gym. I just want to try and set this thing properly so that it
It's
1 second for me.
fine. You see, that's what I love. You just went to gym and I just had a tinky and I'm drinking this. So that's why I need help. Like,
Listen, it was a hard thing to do today of all days. My
yeah.
legs, I don't know how I'm getting with this chair after this.
Oh, shame. So how have you been?
Was legs. I'm good. I can't complain. It's been a very busy start to the year, so every day I'm busy. And then it's Alvin's birthday this weekend, so also running around trying to sort him out.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
but it's been good.
the can you hear me properly, first of all? Can you hear me properly?
Very clearly.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay. Sorry, I'm just reaching over to the side to um leave my stuff there. So basically, like I said to you on the phone, this podcast is really to motivate women. It started out called Brighter, and
Yeah.
it's just basically it's got the same concept as before though. So it's basically just different women sharing their journeys in whatever it is. Like some people that I interviewed were mothers, some people I interviewed were business ladies. So it's really any woman that have has gone through stuff and has a story to share. That's literally what I'm actually trying to get ladies to share with each other. So it's something that means a lot to me. Like I even told you, I think I mentioned to you that I wanted to at some point give it over to somebody else because I didn't have the time to do it. But it was just something
Yeah.
close to my heart. So I just kind of reinvented the name and started again, you know. So you are my first guest after a year.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm
So yeah, and I'm really excited about this because
excited.
I pick up a lot of weight. I picked up a lot of weight, like probably in the last 5 months. Um, when I had Caitlin, right? Um, we went because I picked up a lot of weight after Caitlin was born. So we started doing this eating plan, this keto plan, and I ended up losing like 30 kgs. So I was in good condition. I
Sure.
was fit and everything, you know. And then, as time goes on, you go through all these challenges and stuff, and you slowly start picking up the weight, but you think to yourself, I'll lose it, you know. I don't have to be as
Yeah.
disciplined as I was before, I'll lose it. And then before you know it, you're back in the same spiral. And in the last 5 months, I think it's been the worst. I actually just been to the doctor last week and she said my blood pressure is a bit high for me. It's not high in terms of other people, but because she knows my medical history, she knows that it's high for me. So I know that
Yeah.
I really need to do something about my weight. I'm not young anymore. I can't pretend like I am. So
But you know what? I can understand that because now after December, I told you I worked on all of this last year,
yeah,
lost the weight last year, went on holiday thinking, oh, same thought pattern. I did it, I can do it again. I enjoyed myself in December. I let my hair down. I had a bit
yes,
of
yes,
food, I ate burgers, ate ice cream, whatever we were eating, but in moderation.
yeah,
Come back, and then I knew in January when we come back, we're going to be back on our eating plan and stuff like that. Let me tell you, I am almost about 3 weeks in or 4 weeks in now, and it's harder the second time around for
yes,
me
yes,
because I'm saying, listen, why is that switch not happening? Why is the switch not coming on? Because I'm doing the gym, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I still feel like I'm the same size, although there are little changes. I'm just feeling like, man, it should have been quicker than this, that kind of thing. So although I set myself a goal that I'd want to do just another 5 kgs because I want to see what I look like if I'm happy and then tone up from there. But those 5 kgs feel like tar. I promise you.
I think
Feels
it
like
is
it's
though.
stuck to me. So,
What do you think it is that
hey,
does that? What do you think it is that does that? Because I feel the same, like exactly what you're saying. Like you feel like the first time round was easier. So why are you doing the same
yeah.
things and it's not making the difference it made the first time round? Like,
I think for me, I can talk for myself. For me, the determination I can tell you is not 100% there.
yeah,
I I'm the type of person that I will do what I say I will do, But when I decide to do it, then it gets done. Like I was sharing with Alvin, like I needed to finish my studies and I got two more modules to go, and I'm just dragging my feet in finishing these two modules. And I said to him, you know what? I can do it. I know I can do it. The problem is I just haven't decided to do it. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. Because
Yeah.
in my mind, in terms of my weight now, in my mind, I know that I did it before. I know I can do it again. But I think where my problem area would be is the fact that maybe I think, oh, okay, I can just tweak the system and not going back strict like how I went back the first time. Because let me tell you, if I decide to go back strict, I will do it. I'm very strong. I'm very disciplined. And when it comes to, I mean, I can sit, we can go out, families eating ice creams, waffles, whatever. I will sit with my water. They will do it in front of me. I am that strong. But when I make
Wow.
up my mind, I'm strong. But now you see me, okay, I can have whatever I'm eating and maybe just dabble this and have a Coke Zero and whatever the case is. Like make little choices, but it's not as strict as how I was. Then I was hardcore. So I think for me, the difference is that in the back of my mind, I know what to do. I know the formula, but I'm just looking for a slightly easier way out because the discipline demands a hell of a lot for you
Yeah.
to get those results. It's not
Yeah.
easy because, I mean, it's easy to pick up the weight, but to lose 1 kg, because my goal is 250 grams or 500 grams a week. That's my goal.
Yeah.
500 grams a week. That's what I need to do. I'm not looking for anything extra. I'm not looking for anything other than that, just so that it's sustainable. And it'll take a while, but it'll get there. And then you build like that. But I can tell you for me, that's my sore point at this point. I think the switch hasn't come on yet. And listen, I need to get back into it. I know that I'm eating properly and whatever, but on weekends I'm a little bit,
Yeah.
I'll have my coffee with one cremora and I'll cheat like a little thing like that. The things that I didn't used to do, I'm doing now. And
Yeah.
I'm saying that I can go the whole day without eating, that those were my bad habits. But when I was on my diet, I had to eat at 10 o'clock, I had to eat at 2 o'clock, I had to eat at 4, I had to eat at 6. I had to drink my water in between. But now I'm on the road, I'm working, I'm doing all sorts of things. And then I'm getting lazy to prepare my meals. So that's my problem. Is that I'm thinking, oh, well, I'm not eating, I'm gymming, but I'm expected to lose weight. And I'm not doing the effort is not at 100% at this point.
Yeah. Because
I
I
think
also
that would be.
I remember when I used to go to the gym, like I never did much weights to be honest, because it's not my thing. It's difficult for me, but I'm a good runner.
Yeah.
I love running. So I
Okay.
used to notice that when I would eat, like if I'd eat oats or something, then I'd be able to just give it my best at the gym, or like what, even if I was running outside, I would be able to just burn all the calories on the that I used up with the oats and even more. But if I didn't eat, then I could hardly do anything. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so but like I think you know, a couple of years ago when I did a different thing. I did keto, but with intermittent fasting. So with you saying you have to eat at different points in the day, and it is like obviously your metabolism, because I know in the beginning my metabolism did slow down a lot, but then I don't
Yeah.
know what happens where your body like kind of eats the existing fat or what it does, but I would like fast the entire day. I was living off like coffee and then eating
Yeah.
like at meal times. So I lost the weight
Yeah.
quite fast and I was able to sustain that for a while. But then I just went back into my old ways. And do you remember you were saying the thing about the sugar? That's, I think, one of the biggest problems is like I say, oh, I'm just gonna have a sugar now in my coffee. And then the next day you say the same thing. And like
Sometimes I have.
I find with me, like you remember the part where you just said that you feel like you're not the lights are not coming on. Like I was so good at it a couple of years ago, and every time I try to get back on the bandwagon and start up again and be disciplined and go running and do all these things, it's just not working for me this time. Like it doesn't matter what I'm trying to do, whether I'm
Yeah.
trying to cut out what I'm eating or exercise. It's like things keep just getting in the way of me actually maintaining what I'm doing. So I'm trying to do it in little increments. So if I lose some weight here, then life will take its toll on me, and then I start again a few days later. So it's like up and down. And then the other thing is like I get a lot of headaches. And that's also because my weight. So now for me, Now I can't not eat. I have to
Yeah.
take medicine for my headaches, and I've just been to the doctor. So it's like it's a mixed thing where your your weight is affecting your health, and because you
Yeah.
need medication for it, you can't like cut down what you're eating because
Not
you don't want to make your stomach raw. So I think it's just like a whole collection of things that's kind of compounded, you know. So I think yeah, that's my story.
you know what? For me, I can say this much. I started off with the weight loss thing. It started as a weight loss journey, but I quickly realized that it had everything to do with everything else and 1% to do with the weight.
Yeah.
Because while I was on this weight loss eating plan, or whatever you want to call it, the journey, the health journey, I realized that I was challenged in the area of discipline. I was challenged in the area of, my confidence. I was everything internal was when I tell you uprooted, it was tossed upside down because, I shared, I think, once on Facebook when I posted a picture and I said I lost 14 kgs, but let me tell you what I gained because
Mm.
it had everything to do with everything else except the weight loss. The weight loss was a byproduct at the end of this whole journey
Of
because
everything.
now I realize I had a problem with my relationship with food. I viewed food differently. It was emotional eating for me. It
Yes.
was, it was other things that cropped up and had nothing to do with my journey because the truth of the matter is if I really wanted to do it, I could do it.
Mm.
But I found that I had to instill and first, what's the word? To build the discipline first. The first 4 weeks, I questioned everything. I questioned my life. I questioned Jesus. I questioned everything about this diet because it took so much out of me to actually be consistent. But then I realized how much I relied on food. And even like in my family, I mentioned to you that we celebrated if something good happened, let's go out, let's go celebrate. But what are we celebrating? Food.
Yes.
That was our you don't realize you create your life. When you're fasting, you will see the difference in what food has a hold on you, how much food has a hold on you. And so when I was going through all of this and I started finding and doing work internally now, then I realized, okay, so me using food was a coping mechanism. I understood that. Why was I using food as a coping mechanism? Why am I not using an activity? Why am I not doing this? I'm eating. If I'm feeling sad or whatever the case is, I want something to eat. I'm from watching TV. If I'm bored, I'm eating.
Yes.
So all those things I had to learn. It came to the surface. I had to undo all of that and retrain myself to think that when you are eating, as much as you don't like what you're eating, you are fueling your body. You are think about this. You are giving life to your body. You are sustaining yourself for when your kids are growing and you're going to be taking part in the mum's race for the next 10 years. Think about how proud they are. Those are the thoughts that I had to now sit in front of my mind and think about all the time when I was on this journey. Because let me tell you, it was very hard to sit and eat while these people are eating junk and I'm eating chicken and salad. And I am off lettuce like a passion now because I ate so much of it. And now I've got to find ways to talk to myself about it and say, listen, you've got a good relationship with food. If it means that you have to have a chocolate, it's okay. Because first of all, it takes 7,000 calories for argument's sake, just for you to gain 1 kg. You're not going to gain a kg if you eat the chocolate. Have it. It's okay. But just know that you can't be having these things all the time. I don't reward myself with a result. So I feel like in the first week, you can't be rewarding yourself and having a break on weekends because there isn't a result to reward yourself
Yes.
for. So
Yes.
I don't do that. But what I find that is that I'm a lot more lenient on myself, and there's where the bloodline is. That I'm lenient on myself, but I think that I need to also go back to a little bit more to where I was so strict, where I wasn't so lenient in order to get the results. But I'm understanding and I'm making space for other things in my life to happen because there's times where I'm just not able to get to food, healthy food. I'm on the road and I haven't packed anything and there's no healthy place around or whatever the
Yes.
case is. So I just make better choice with what I have and then know that in the evening, like let's say, for example, if I can have a sandwich or whatever, then in the evening I know, okay, I can't have a carb, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So I have to make space for these things because I don't prepare food and I don't have the time to do all of that. Honestly, I've got
Yeah.
too much going on. And that's what's helping for me. But like I said, when life came in, I realized that this is not a weight journey. This is an internal journey that I've got. This is an emotional journey. This is a spiritual journey. This is me growing my emotional intelligence and all of that. Because ever since that eating plan, I can tell you I've developed more than 90% more of who I was then before I started the eating plan.
Sure.
The weight came at the end,
Wow.
completely at the end.
Wow.
Now I am disciplined. Now I'm focused. Now I'm motivated. Now I can stand. Now I don't need to respond. Now I'm able to feel my feelings. Before I would sit in and react. Now I can sit, I can make a decision. I can feel, I can allow myself to sit in negative emotions, feel it. I can recognize negative thoughts. I can refuse it. I can replace those thoughts. I've taught myself these skills, and this all happened through eating properly.
Wow. Wow. That's quite
Yeah.
incredible. And that's
I'm telling you.
it's ironic that you actually say these things because the last episode that I did, which is when I restarted everything, I did it on health. I did the first episode on the beginning of 2025, and then the next one was on health. And exactly as you're saying, I only realized this year why I'm struggling. It's because this is how we grew up, you know?
Yeah.
You grew up living like this. When you become an adult and now it's affecting you differently than when you were younger, it's it's
Yeah.
hard to now change your entire life because that's what you're changing because this is how you grew up. You grew up eating that way. Um, and also emotional eating. And I did this through like a test. One day I just thought to myself, am I like doing emotional eating, And I decided to like not eat that day and see how I felt and what would make me not want to eat. And I realized that whenever I had my parents over or I was doing something
Yeah.
with Caitlin and it was fun or I was doing something, I didn't have a desire to just go and get food and eat. And then that's how I realized, hey, this is actually more than about the food. It's not really about the food. And that's literally when I realized that it's about how I was feeling, and I didn't connect the dots before that. Before that, I had
Yeah.
no idea that's what I was doing. I just felt like I'm just gaining weight. I don't know why, but only when I did that little experiment on myself, I realized that it was because my day wasn't being filled with meaningful activities. And because of that, I was
Absolutely.
just going to food. It was like a coping
Yeah.
mechanism. So that's quite
Absolutely.
amazing.
Hey, you know what? You learn to pour into yourself, and that's one thing I am intentional with this year. In fact, it started last year. That I pour into myself, meaning what I find things that make me feel good, that bring joy into my life, that
Yeah.
I just find peace in. For me, it would be reading a book in the night. Actually, silence is what brings joy to my life. When, like, a period from 9 to 10, where the kids are sleeping and
Yeah.
that silence and no one's calling me, and, or if Alvin takes him to swimming from 4 to 5,
Yeah.
when there's nobody here, I find that I'm the most happiest. Silence is one of the things that brings peace to me.
Wow.
Like doing your hair, doing my nails, little things, but I make time for that and I prioritize things like that because I find that when I am doing things like that, it affects everything around me. I'm then able to say, I'm happy with my space, I'm happy with my life. I finally understand that I walk in an environment that I'm responsible for. If
Yes.
I don't like thing, I can change it. I am not a tree. I don't need to be there all the time. I can move if I don't like my environment. I can
Yeah.
change the atmosphere if I don't like it. And finally, all of those things, like I say, were learned at that time. I learned what type of person I am. I learned what type of personality I am. Am I anxious? Why am I anxious? I still don't know all the answers why, maybe something happened to me 30 years ago or something that caused me to respond this way or whatever. But I'm starting to dig now. And I've asked God to please bring up these things. And I find that there's certain core memories that are coming to the front where I realize I have to deal with, certain things. I'm able to share this with you because during my journey, God brought up something that I thought I'd forgotten about. It was a core memory, but it was so, so painful and so I don't even know. I didn't even realize I remembered this thing, to be honest, but it came up during the food journey when I was asking God to bring these things
Wow.
up. And I realized that actually, I didn't even realize that I was healed from this painful event or memory because I thought about it and there was no sting attached to it.
Yeah.
And that's how I knew that God is dealing with me because now remember, I'm practicing how to sit in my feelings and whatever. And
Hmm.
all of a sudden, this thing comes up And this thing is something that nobody knows. I've shared with nobody knows this
Yeah.
thing. But there was a pain attached to this memory. It was something that I don't even know if I suppressed it, or I don't
Yeah.
know
What
how all of
happens?
that
Yeah.
works. It came up, and then I remembered that, oh, I remembered this thing. I said, God, how did I forget this thing, and whatever the case is. But then afterwards, he reminded me, can you see that there's no pain attached to it? You can talk about it. And I was able to share it with a friend of mine, and I was able to share it with my husband about,
Yeah.
this event that
Wow, that's
transpired.
incredible.
And I'm telling you, and it all started with practicing and being diligent with the way you see food and the way you handle food. I know people are not going to connect the dots in terms of food and the relationship with yourself, but let me tell you, you will
There's a
see for
big thing.
yourself when you apply your mind. It is so deeply rooted, and I found that a lot of the time I grew up for most of my life with an inferior complex about myself,
Hmm.
and I can pinpoint the areas of where I remember people saying things, and I remember certain
Yes.
things, and that thing. And so when these things came up, because now it's things that I have to work on. So now I'm doing all of that. So when like I said to you, I major on self care. I major on filling my own cup, because now I'm always living in this positive environment. I'm conscious of what I post. I'm conscious of what I say. I'm conscious of how I make myself feel. If I feel like I'm, uh, something's triggering me, then I would feel it, I would remember it, and then I would replace the thoughts, because I understand that I'm responsible for my environment. I'm responsible for my body, even down to my kids. When I was looking at my kids and I'm blaming their genes because their father's genes, they're big size and whatever the case, until I realized, hey, you're feeding them. These children are eating what you're giving them. They're not making their own healthy food. These children are eating what you're giving them. So if you want them to be healthier, then you need to put healthier choices in front of them. And now they know there's no cooking separate meals in my house. If we are having chicken and broccoli, everybody's having chicken and broccoli. Otherwise, you stop. It's
Yeah.
that simple. Yesterday I stood over to Hila. She don't like vegetables, and yet she has like not a skin deficiency. I'm not saying that her nails are very soft. So
Yeah.
I stood over her and I said, you will eat your vegetables. I'm standing here and you're not leaving here until you finish eat your vegetables. And I said, so I explained why you need to have it, because of the nutrients and what you're doing for your body. And you're a swimmer now, so you need your strength. And, not from a point of where, like how we were, you're going to get a hiding if you don't
If
eat
you
this
don't
carrot
eat
or
your
whatever.
vegetables.
I'm telling you, but it was more from understanding. So I'm learning, even my parenting skills have changed, because now I understand, okay, this child is like this, that child's like that, and I've got to work with them differently. So in as much as I'm learning things about myself, my parenting, the way I parent them is changed. The way I am to Alvin has changed. The way I am as a friend has changed, because now I'm concerned, I'm conscious of, if I say I'm going to pray for you, that I take the time to pray for you. But again, I can attach all of these good things back to my relationship with food,
Hmm.
because I'm doing something good for myself and my
Yeah.
body, and I'm nourishing my body. So I feel like everything needs to be high quality for me now. I don't enjoy low quality experiences anymore. Like the foods I eat, I have preferences now. I'd rather choose organic chicken than frozen chicken,
Hmm.
a silly example. So it's made me look at things a lot differently and want better for myself holistically, just because I went on an eating plan.
That's so amazing to hear this. And like the reason I actually was so interested in you, even in the first time around, if you remember, I actually messaged you last year. Because
Yes.
I was on Facebook and I saw, look at this woman. She's so inspiring. You like your videos of doing exercise and just being so motivated. And I think what I was attracted to when I saw it, it wasn't just like oh, you getting thin or whatever. It was the fact that you were disciplined and I was struggling with it. You were disciplined and you were saying, like, this is a goal. This is something I want to do and I'm going to do it. So that was very inspiring for me. And that's why I really wanted you to share this so much, because I know there's a lot of women challenged with this, because I mean, you basically told me the same story now that I was telling myself a few weeks ago about the coping mechanisms of food. Like you coping with your life through eating food. And I'm sure there's so many women who are doing that also, but we just don't share it. We don't share it amongst each
Yeah.
other, but we all facing it in our own little ways, and it eventually does kill your body. It does. You are
Yes.
damaging
No,
your body
100%.
every single day by putting all these toxic things into your system, and it just becomes like a vicious cycle. You get if you're unhealthy, then it's just everything seems to spiral in the wrong way. And even going to the doctor, the first thing she asked me as well, and the first thing a doctor always asks you is, how's your eating, And that's such a big problem for so many people. So I want to just ask you, like, can you just tell me a little bit about how it all started for you when you decide this is it? I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this for my life. And just the process, and just if you can just share that with the ladies or even in listening, just to give them some inspiration that they also have an opportunity to do it as well, no matter what they might be facing,
You know what? I also had a life-altering event take place, and at the time, I didn't know how to cope with it. And I want to say that pushed me, but I'm not quite sure if it was actually the life-altering event that pushed me to making the decision. More than it was, I was disappointed in myself because remember, I've been trying to lose weight for years and years and years, and I never was a person to go to gym. I hated exercise, hated exercise. I wanted these quick Duramides and all these things, these quick things.
Yeah.
Until I realized that your life is going to go the way you allow it to go.
Yeah.
And then I was going to the gym. I started on my own and I was going to gym. And then my husband introduced me to my trainer at the gym, and he said to me, "Hey, listen, meet this person, helping me. I'll sort out your training fees for the first couple of months. Let him help you, and whatever the case is." And I think the education behind why I was doing what I was doing was so helpful to me at that point that it made me want to do this even more. So we had the first life-altering events, but I think I was uncomfortable with the way I looked. I was upset about the way I felt, that I didn't feel that I was confident enough. If you had seen me, you would look at me and say, "Oh, but you got a business," and whatever the case is. But honestly, on the inside, I wasn't feeling what you were feeling. So for me, I reached the point where I just got upset. I was maybe about 80 somewhat, 90, 80 to 90 kgs. I can't even remember where I started, maybe 85 or thereabouts. But it was not. And then I started having health issues. My feet were swelling. I have my stomach, the Caesar, that was my ever end, the Caesar cut and all of that. And like I say, when all of this happened, and then I had this life-altering event that made me look at myself and really face myself and say, okay, are you happy with what you're giving? This is what your children are seeing. And a large thing was I felt like a mirror on me, shining all these bad things that I felt about me, and also wondering, oh, my girl's seeing this.
Yeah.
And wondering, is this what they see? Yes, they love me and I'm their mother and whatever, but I was trying to hide all this. And that's when I realized I need to make a difference in myself, first of all. I think that's where the strength came from, the circumstance and all the things that were going on at that time, but also being introduced to someone that was giving me information and education about why are you the way you are, like what's happening inside. And he made me do bloods and stuff like that. So I realized, okay, fine, your thyroid levels, your cholesterol levels, we had to check all of that. It was all fine, but the fact is that I had hormonal issues and gut issues and whatever the case, and PCOS and all these things. And that's why I struggled, because I realized I was trusting God to have children. Meantime, I was eating away at my own self because of the way I was eating and stuff. I caused all this myself. And so I'm trusting God for 8 years to have kids. In the meantime, I'm doing this to myself. And so eventually I did have kids, but the fact of the matter is it was a struggle. And all I needed to do was eat properly and take better care of myself, which I wasn't doing at the time. So when I started this journey, those were all the reasons behind it. And I decided I'm going to stick to this one thing. If anything, just this one thing, because I decided that I wanted to live better and healthier and whatever the case is. Started going to gym, started exercising and recording myself and putting it out there. And the reason why I was putting those things out there is because I was being accountable to myself. Because I didn't want you to see me on Facebook or wherever I was loading it, exercising, and see me on the streets and I'm 20 kgs heavier, and then I bounced back and I've gone back, because I knew now once it's out there, it's out there. I can't gain weight again after this, because then I'm going to look like a failure again, So those are the reasons why I did what I did, and I was posting all the time, and people started saying, "Hey, you're getting better, you're motivating me." And believe it or not, yes, believe it or not, there were so many people that messaged me to say, because I saw your videos, I went back to gym, or I'm eating better, or whatever the case is. And even if there was 2 people that did that, during the course of my journey, I was quite fine with it because
Yeah.
my struggle benefited them in a way that got them thinking about the foods. I mean, you know what I was upset about? I'm upset about the fact that there's so many young people with cancer. I'm upset about the fact that we are eating foods that are filled with all these funny things that are causing these things, and we don't know. Why is someone looking like the way they're looking? It's
Yeah.
all these things were bothering me. And I can't change the world, but I can change myself, and I can change the lives of my girls as well and my own environments. And I found that when this started happening, my body started to change. And when this confidence started, coming up, and my girls started to look at me and say, "Hey, mama, your stomach's gone flat," because at one stage my child said to me, "Mom," like I was telling her why my stomach is so big. I told her because I had a baby. She says, "So did you have a baby in your bum too?" Because she was trying to say my bum was so big. But I'm saying, it's comments, innocent comments like that,
Yes, yes,
that were hurtful at the time, but they pushed me. And
yes.
then I started finding that the home atmosphere started changing.
Mm.
Um, then my family now are looking at me and are reacting differently to me. People are looking at me and respecting me more because now I seem to know what I'm doing almost.
Yeah.
I'm not claiming in any way that I know what I'm doing. I'm just saying that this is what worked for me and this is how it's changed my life for the better. My children, I'm able to participate in school races at sports, things like that, the mothers' races now. So, and every year I got a goal to get one position lower, that kind of thing. But the girls get excited when they see me
Yes.
going to participate rather than before I should just sit and say, "Oh, never." And now they get so excited and they scream for me, and it's such a beautiful feeling. Such a
Wow.
beautiful feeling. So it was a whole myriad of things that caused me to start this journey and continue this journey. I haven't been posting that much, but I'm still on that journey. I don't think it will ever end, actually.
But that's actually quite amazing. I appreciate that you not only started on the journey, but that you shared it. Like you've been sharing it and you
Yeah,
used it. I know for you it was maybe accountability, so you can like make sure you keep on it. But it really
yeah.
did inspire people. It inspired me. So I really, really enjoyed speaking to you. I wish we could do it longer. Next time I need to have you back on and we can talk about all the intricacies of your blood work and all these things with the foods, because I can tell you know quite a lot about it. So about
I've
eating
learned, and absolutely. I mean, like for example, you mentioned about headaches. Alvin is someone that suffers with chronic migraines to the
me
point where he's
too.
vomiting and all of that
Me
all the
too.
time.
It's bad.
We we made one change, and it's made all the difference in the world. We stopped his coffee, and he now takes apple cider vinegar twice a day in hot water. I promise you, it's been months. Alvin, I got Panado in my bag, Panado in the car, Panado everywhere because the kids and him suffer with headaches. I don't.
Yeah.
But because we started doing this apple cider vinegar, I swear that all the headaches have stopped.
And
Alvin
I
hasn't
suffer
had a
with
headache
migraines
tummy
as
run.
well, bad migraines, like also the nausea. It's so severe. I feel sometimes I feel like I'm just in chronic pain because if there's no medication, then I'm
Yeah,
just in pain, and it's not a way to live.
absolutely. My eldest daughter, she goes out in the sun, comes back vomiting and stuff. Every time we have a beach day, I can bet my bottom dollar she comes back with a fever, vomiting, or whatever, all from these migraines. And we just made little changes because we understood the values of certain things and things that we have. So we started this apple cider vinegar. Alvin has it morning and evenings. I have it once a day because it's not for the faint-hearted. But, and I tell you, that this thing has changed the game in terms of regulating insulin and sugar levels and all that, but no more headaches in this house. We don't carry
Oh,
painkillers anymore. I promise you.
wow,
But
I'm
we'll
gonna
chat about
definitely
that
try
privately.
that. I'm gonna try that.
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
let you know how it goes. Apple cider vinegar
Yes.
and hot water. But
Yeah, I promise you.
thank you so much, Vidal. I'm so appreciative
You're
that you
so
did this.
welcome.
And I know everyone's gonna really love what they get to hear. And I want to see more videos and I'm gonna be picking up tips along the way. But thank you so much for joining me and I'll chat to you soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us. It was such a wonderful opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Thank you once again for joining me on my podcast. This is Shirlyn Gray, and you're listening to Worthy.